light. Shadows creep and crawl with every scream. Hear the echoes call. Synths and guitars in a haunting blend. An 80s vibe where the terror transcends. Shocktoberfest, scream until dawn. In your nightmares, the terror's reborn. Lights flash, monsters take flight. Embrace the darkness, it's a metal night.
How's it going, everybody? Wildman Wes here, and welcome back for day 13 of Shocktoberfest 80s Rewind. We have now moved into 1984. Damn good year for movies and music and a lot of other things. I mean, hey, look at me. I was born that year. Alright, Wes, you're pushing it. Throughout the years of Shocktoberfest, I've made it a point to do at least one Japanese animation, one family-friendly cartoon film or Halloween special, or even a animated film in the States. And this year I decided I wanted to try something a little different. I wanted to do a film that's considered a comic book movie. In the 80s, there weren't a lot of comic book characters that were of the horror genre that had a film adaptation. Swamp Thing had one in 1982 by Wes Craven. However, I had a lot of movies from 1982 that I wanted to do instead. And then I also realized this year we're getting a reboot of a character that was started off from a low-budget film and got their own spin-off of a cartoon series and comic books. And that's right, folks. Today we're going to be talking about 1984's The Toxic Avenger. How have I not reviewed this movie yet in the outspan of, what? Let's see, 8 years doing stuff on this channel? Man, I'm so sorry to all you Troma fans out there. But then, better late than never, right? Our movie takes place in the lovable Tromaville, the toxic waste capital of the world, where we meet a young man named Melvin Ferd, a janitor slash mop boy at the Tromaville Fitness Health Club. He's a very scrawny young man, very nerdy young man, who is picked on by the entire town. And eventually, they pull a prank on him that goes horribly wrong, where he falls into a vat of toxic waste and becomes the Toxic Avenger, a toxic superhero of superhuman size and strength. I know that's not necessarily the actual tagline, but bear with me, folks. After Melvin's transformation into the monster, or as we know him nowadays as Toxie, he has a run of bad luck. His mom sees him for the first time after transforming, and she freaks out. Miserable, he finds home in the city's dump, where he makes a nice little shack and spends the rest of his time there. In the meantime, the town of Tromaville is dealing with a lot of corruption and a lot of crime, and the mayor's involved in it. And in the midst of all this crime and chaos, one of the police officers in Tromaville gets attacked by a gang, and the monster arrives and saves the police officer. Everybody thinks that the police officer is crazy because a monster saved him, and it turns out that the monster is taking care of a lot of crime. Cleaning it up, as we would say. One of the people that the monster takes out is a little old lady, and the mayor and the town are in outrage. They say, oh, down with the monster's evil. But we find out later that this little old lady wasn't as nice as we thought she was. And so everybody starts feeling bad about that. Eventually Melvin gets a stroke of good luck when he goes to a fast food diner to stop a gang from attacking all the customers and suggestively trying to harm a blind woman named Sarah. Sarah befriends Melvin, and eventually they have a romantic relationship, and even though she is blind, she sees Melvin for who he is on the inside. Even just by touching his face, she feels that he is beautiful. And eventually, Melvin realizes that the mayor is responsible for a lot of the crime in Tromaville. He confronts the mayor and takes him out, and the town of Tromaville is saved by the Toxic Avenger. Toxic Avenger really paved the way for Troma. There were other films prior and after that have given Troma a very, very good fan base. We have movies like Class of Nukem High, Surf Nazis Must Die, Sergeant Kabuki Man NYPD, Poultrygeist, Terror Firmer, Tromeo and Juliet. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. And I could go on and on and on, but we're focusing on Toxic Avenger today. We're going to talk about what I like and what I don't like about this film. We're going to start off with what I don't like about this film. And honestly, when it comes to things I don't like about this film, there's really hardly anything that I don't like. This movie has that campiness and that hokiness to the point where some people could say it's so bad it's good. No, this is one of those movies that's so, oh my gosh, WTF is going on here, I can't stop looking. It's a train wreck. You don't want to look sometimes, but you gotta peek. What I really love about this film is the special effects. With being 1984 and being an independent film or low-budget film, I know those are bad terms. It's bad to talk about movies like this because they're not like the Hollywood big shot movies. No, the fact of the matter is they did what they could, and they made it more gruesome than any Hollywood film that I could think of, especially at that time. And they did it in such a way that was disturbing, but hilariously funny. There were moments where someone gets run over by a car, especially their skull. We have moments of a guy that actually gets his arm ripped off. Well, not actually, but the man was actually an amputee arm actor, and normally when somebody gets their arm ripped off in a horror movie, you can physically see that their arm is covering, the shirt and whatnot. Like, you can see that the arm is tucked away. But in this situation, it worked. And it was hilariously funny. We've talked about moments of homages and references versus complete ripoffs. There are moments where they make nods to films and also some inside jokes. They make puberty jokes about when Melvin becomes the monster. There's also a slight nod of Clockwork Orange. There's moments of even when this group of fitness nuts that are psychotically disturbing, they run over a person, or basically they run over a young person, and they say, oh, let's run over somebody else. No, I can't. Got to go to church in the morning. The irony of that situation. Also moments about Melvin being radioactive from the toxic waste when he helps a woman with a can of uncooked popcorn. It turns into popcorn as he's opening it with the whole radioactivity and everything. That's funny. And not just that, but also the blind girl, Sarah, who is making breakfast for Toxie during a montage of their romance. She cracks some eggs, and there's some eggshells in there, and we've all been there at some point or another when making breakfast. Sometimes we accidentally crack an eggshell into our breakfast, but Toxie doesn't seem to mind, and that's the charm of that whole romance. Also, when it comes to the montages, they didn't do many, which is good because there are times where movies do suffer from what I like to call montage overload, where they rely too much on montage and leave the plot to the back burner. Toxic Avenger, literally 2, if not 3 montages, and very short, to give an idea of what's in store for the rest of the film. They really focused on the plot on this one, and even as ridiculous as this plot is, it is funny, and not just funny, but it's straightforward. You have the whole situation of this character, Melvin, gets doused with toxic waste, becomes a monster superhero. We have people in town that are corrupt and evil that are trying to take over the town, and Melvin has to stop them. Straightforward. I love that about some of these films. I could go on and on about this, and a lot of it's because I'm a huge Troma fan, and also, years ago I got to meet Lloyd Kaufman, the head of Troma, and he's one of the nicest guys I've probably ever met in the business, and he had a lot of great insight for how to keep yourself positive during the hardships of wanting to get into the industry. It's been a long time for me, and I've been lucky to even be an extra in TV and film, but I still keep doing what I can, and this channel is what keeps the light on. And Toxic Avenger is one of those movies that always reminds me to keep that light on, and to always believe in yourself, even at times when you feel like a monster. That being said, as biased as this is going to sound, the original Toxic Avenger gets an A+. And I really hope that, as much as I'm not a fan of reboots, I hope the reboot of the Toxic Avenger in 2025 is somewhat entertaining. Who knows? Maybe I might not give it enough credit. and maybe I might give it more credit than its credit's due. But other than that, we hope you enjoyed this review on the Toxic Avenger. If you've seen this original film and you agree with me, leave a thumbs up. If not, I understand. If there's certain things you didn't like about the film, leave a comment in the section below. I like to know exactly what things people like and don't like about certain movies, whether they're cult classics or whether they're sleeper hits or just the ones that are the underdog that don't get enough credit. Other than that, make sure you share on social media, but most importantly, push that subscribe button and ring the bell for instant notifications. Until then, I'm Wildman Wes, and we will see you tomorrow for day 14 of Shocktoberfest 80s Rewind. Take care, and as always, stay scared, kiddies.